now, there have been, up to the time I started my research, there was no study that was done in Ontario on nurses that migrate through the Live-in Caregiver Program. There's been some studies in BC that included nurses as part of their sample, and one study that was mainly focused on nurses, but nothing had been done in Ontario yet at the time when I started. So the purpose of my study was to explore the migration of Philippine educated nurses to Ontario through the Live-in Caregiver Program. So I was interested in the experiences of these nurses, their migration experiences, what motivated them to migrate through the stream, and what was their experience in Canada once they migrated. And I also wanted to touch on the obligations of diverse stakeholders towards their integration in Ontario. So I used the concept of global care chain, which was developed by Ali Oxchild, and it talks about links across the globe based on the paid and unpaid work of caring, and it takes into consideration the interlocking identities of gender, race, class, and nationality. And of course, a pictorial example of global care chain will be someone in North America trying to juggle the demands of family and work life, and to meet this demand, they hire someone from the Philippines to help them in taking care of their children in Canada, and of course the person in the Philippines also has a home child who she leaves behind in care of someone else in the Philippines. So what we see is a transfer of care work down the hierarchy of gender, race, and class. So I used a single typical case study, holistic design. My unit of analysis was Philippine educated nurses who migrated to Ontario to the Live-in Caregiver Program. All my participants had migrated between 2001 and 2011. My data sources included documents, so policy documents, and websites, so advertisement websites, CIC website, College of Nurses of Ontario, the nursing regulatory bodies website. I interviewed 15 nurses who migrated to Canada through the Live-in Caregiver Program, and I also interviewed 9 stakeholders, and my stakeholders included 1 immigration policymaker, 2 representatives who support groups, 4 nurse educators, and I'm not sure what the other 2 were. I'll remember later. So this is a picture of my sample, and I've used fake names. And one of the first things that I actually, when I had submitted my proposal for defense, my topic was the migration of nurses from the Philippines to Ontario through the Live-in Caregiver Program, and I saw that that topic is actually not accurate because people weren't migrating from the Philippines. A lot of them were engaging in two-step migration. So a lot of them were migrating from the Philippines, going to Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the Middle East, and there they work as nurses, and then they come to Canada to work as domestic workers. So most of the participants that I had have migrated from Saudi Arabia or Libya, Taiwan, but most of them migrated from Saudi Arabia. There were different stages in the immigration process, but a lot more were open work permit because in 2011 December, the government, there was a major policy change that they granted a lot of open work permits, 10,000 open work permits in 1 month. So because of that, I had a lot of people on open work permits in February to October 2012 when I did my study. And nursing registration process, they were at different stages. So when I asked about the reasons for migration, there were several reasons for migration. But the most common reason and the most frequent phrase that my participants used, they are all for the family. So as one of them said, and this was an exemplary quote, I thought I can start even in the lowest position as long as in the long run. I'm looking for the future, that I can bring my family and we can all be together. It's all for the family. That's my main focus of coming here. So a lot of the nurses were sacrificed their career standing just to be able to gain Canadian citizenship, not just for themselves and their family. And I asked two participants that didn't have children in Canada, that, okay, everyone is saying it's all for the family, so why did we come? And one of them talked about having parents that she will be able to bring to Canada, hopefully that she will be able to bring her parents to Canada later. And the other one talked about, the other one questioned that, sometimes she wonders why she came through the Live-in Caregiver Program. And at that time, she was actually questioning going back. So there were several barriers to nursing registration for this group of nurses. One of the big barriers was contradictions in employer support. So employers want to retain a great living caregiver. And of course, if you're supporting someone to become a nurse in Canada, that will probably mean you'll be losing a great living caregiver very soon. So living caregivers talked about the contradictions that employers have in supporting them in their nursing registration process. The other one is credential assessment, especially there was challenges with getting documents consistently from Saudi Arabia, especially after a while of not working in Saudi Arabia. And also issues with credential assessment. There were problems with access to bridging programs. So a lot of bridging programs are created on evenings and weekends. And of course, living caregivers, a lot of bridging programs are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And living caregivers tend to work Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So they're never able to actually attend those programs. And there was also issues of cost, especially when they are living caregivers, and even after becoming a living caregiver, they have open work permit. So they come to Canada, and it may take 4 years to 7 years after they arrive in Canada to become permanent residents in Canada. So that takes a while. Sorry, I'm just going to move by. There are several rights. So there's rights as potential permanent residents in Canada, and their rights as nurses, and the long-term obligation of the Canadian government to them. Sorry, I'm all mixed up. To them in Canada. And I have several implications, and one of the main implications is the need for pre-migration counseling of nurses who migrate to Canada through the Live-in Caregiver Program, and there's a need for comparative research to look at those people nurses, and there needs to be more alignment between nursing policy and immigration policy as